This is another video about the JavaScript Web Audio API, and I'm doing this because my website zenafone.com. It's a just intonation oscillator. Just got it real quick. What it does is generates harmonics, and it maps it to the keyboard. You can change the concert pitch. Actually, it still has these name and bank functions, which is supposed to be connected to a database. I have been lazy and I haven't done that feature on this one. So, as you can see, there's harmonics everywhere. This is the major chord, first major chord in the key. Maybe we can do fifth. I'm not gonna take the time to organize these by any sort of logical way, but you can see there, sometimes it runs into the problem where it won't play. Sometimes three keys won't play in a row, sometimes they will. In some places, I usually find at the end of the keyboards they will, but sometimes you can't press all the keys at the same time. Three keys at the same time in certain places. I don't know why that is. As you can see, zenafone. And I'm going to teach you basically, eventually, how to make it, but no, we're just going to. We're going to do some basics. Alright, so like in the last video, we already made an audio context we do within it. This time we're going to focus on key presses, the key press event, and how that goes down. So first of all, to do a key press, first of all you have to know the key code, the key. So do the window object add event listener key down E. That is this would essentially be this. It's the function with the parameter of the event object, and the console.log E. We can view the event object. So the event is key D, and the key code is 68. So that's what we want. Honestly, I don't remember if they're different in different browsers. I believe it works the same in Mozilla. I target Google, Chrome, and Mozilla. Safari is fucking different sometimes, so then I fucking don't care to address it. Okay, so we have the function, but I always do the arrow function. You actually don't need the little parameter, the parentheses. You just go do and same thing. Alright, and so to get the key code, let's log down e.keycode. the property of key code off the event object, and 68. Now let's focus on Q. It's all the fucking key codes. All right, so let's just focus on Q. That's 81. So on key down, let's say if e.keycode equals 81, then I always do a test first, and console.log. Awesome. And obviously you're not going to be able to see which key I'm pressing. Oh, yes you can. So see, when it's 81, it says awesome. It's 87, it's not. Awesome. There you go. So that's some conditional logic that's going to enable us to specify which key it is that we are addressing. Okay. All right. Well, I always, instead of the if, I always do the switch function. The switch block. Anyway, the switch. Is it called a switch function, or is, what is it? What is conditional logic called? Statement, right? What did I say? A switch statement. Whatever. Okay, switch. And then, so, key code. And now, the case is 81. Then console.log. Fuck yeah. And then we'll do I never do a default. I'm not gonna, but I'll just to show you. Default is console.log. You suck. So any key press, it's gonna say you suck. But if it's 81, it's gonna say fuck yeah, you suck. Bada boom. So on 81, I'm trying to decide if you want to do the class now. Might as well. All right. This is how you make a class of the oscillators. You can also just do it like a regular, like a constructor function, and then add the prototype functions. But I'm gonna use the syntactic sugar way. The class is music. Hopefully I remember the syntax. I have to look it up. Constructor. Right, and then we can add the other functions. Okay, so for constructor, the most basic version of this, I do oscillator, volume, and index. I think it goes, yeah, this dot os equals os. Let's say I forgot how to do this. I would go, just have to JavaScript constructor function class. The Mozilla is sort of the golden standard, because Mozilla actually invented JavaScript when it was Netscape. Brandon Ike was working for Netscape, so Mozilla is actually the OG of JavaScript OG, because their company made it. So this is the MDN. So I was right. I knew that I was. anyway, then we'll do the functions on off. I spell it like this just to be goofy, and also sometimes when you use real words, they could be there's always the danger of it being part of the language. Like play, start, stop, off, on kind of shit. So on, off, I know that no one else is going to use that because it's too ridiculous, so I can easily see that it's my own function. And then let's do so this dot os equals atx dot create oscillator. This this dot volume equals atx dot create gain. I really didn't have to do that immediately, but just to do this dot os dot connect to, and then you have to go to this dot volume also because it's a whole chain. It's a whole chainy thing. This dot os dot connect dot this dot volume dot connect dot atx dot destination, the context destination. That's always the last one. And then this dot start. And then now this one will turn it off, even though I know this isn't gonna work how it's supposed to. Alright, this will at least turn on. Okay, now for the constructor function, now you have to instantiate the objects. So this is a class. It's not a real class because it's JavaScript, but it is the fucking prototype thingy. It's basically what it is. It's a class. Alright, so I always do it in an array. I really do. I don't know if that's going to be confusing or not. I instantiate the objects in a class. So new music. The first one. Okay, first of all, in order to do this, you have to have a bunch of variables because, yeah. So I always do. I'm gonna end up making more of these. So I'm gonna have to have 25 of them, or 26, but it starts on 0. And then how do I make it do all of them? Fuck. What's all this thing? How do I make it do all of them? Remember. Find each occurrence. It was G. Why did it look like it wasn't? Nope, not that. Alright, index, we don't need a variable because it's literally just going to be a number. Okay, so you can see here the constructor function, the parameters for the class is oscillator, the volume, which is the gain node, and then an index. I need that too, just as some meta information that we're going to need. So yeah, this will instantiate the first object. We can go ahead and just do another one. You know, it's all gonna. Oh, why did I do it? These should be commas, and like they taught me in boot camp, even the last one can have a comma. It's called a hanging comma. A hanging comma. Why did I say two? Clearly, it is the one. um. And okay, now we can say, okay, so in the case of the 81, if the key code is 81 on this key down event, the event object is 81, then we're going to go to this array. We're going to say notes the first one, because it's the key is the first one in our thing. So notes the 0, and that's referencing new music dot on. So it's going to do this on function up here, right? Right. So let's see how that goes. Right, init. This dot start is not a function. This dot start. Way to go, Einstein. Obviously, this dot os dot start. And then now, well, let's go ahead and do the off, so we can see that it doesn't fucking work like it's supposed to, and we have to do something else. All right, window.add event. Yep. It's gonna be the same shit as this. Except off this time. Okay, so basically, so it actually does work a little bit. So if it fires once, it's fine. But the problem is as we hold it down, it keeps firing. So we need to add a little piece of logic to make sure that it doesn't happen. So we're going to add a new, I guess it's an attribute or property, whatever. Stop playing. Okay, check it out. This dot plain, and we don't need to have this as a parameter. This dot is just boolean. This dot plain equals false. So we're going to say if this dot plain equals false, and do all this stuff. if the subplane equals false, then do this shit. And then at the end, the stop plane equals true. And then once it stops, we'll say the step plane equals false again. So that will trick it into doing what we want. So now it should work like it's supposed to. And that should work like it's supposed to. And it doesn't. What does it say? Can I read properties undefined? Reading stop. Did I forget to do that? Oh. One equals is the assignment operator. Double equals or triple equals is the equals operator. As you can see, works perfect. Alright, and I guess I'll keep going a little bit. Let's do a simple array of nodes just so we can get an idea of what that's going to look like. Let scale one over one. And then we'll do concert pitch equals. Let's just do 4 short and make it easy. Alright, so it's for you music nerds. This is the 1, 4, 5, and then the octave again, the scale, the major scale. 1, 4, 5, as it were. If anyone's listened to the music that I write, you'll know that that's a very common progression. I forgot what the key code there is. Let's just look up. JavaScript key codes. That's not what I wanted. Why is it doing it like that? It's ridiculous. This is what I wanted. Keycode.info. The greatest website ever. Alright. 81, 87, 69, 62. So the next one's 87 and 69. And so now, in order to access this info that we have here, let's do this .os.frequency.value equals, first of all, concert pitch times scale. This is where the index comes in to this to our index. So the index is going to be the this index is the third parameter. As you can see in our object that we extension, the third parameter is just an index, so we know which note we're talking about, and it corresponds to this list. Ta-da! So, and actually we have to evaluate that also. I store them as strings a lot, and we need it to be of the type number. So I do eval. So we evaluate that so it knows, so it's a number. Okay, so that should have 3 notes. Should have 3 notes. Okay, I cheated a little bit. I didn't figure that out in real time. The UPS guy was here though. Anyway, I see what the problem is. This array is ridiculous. It has open parentheses, no closed parentheses. Anyway, the syntax is way off. And see, you don't have to have a hanging comma, obviously. It don't work. I'm gonna go ahead and add the frequency thing. Okay, so volume dot create gain dot gain dot value dot gain dot value. Basically, you can adjust the volume and make it a little volume adjuster, but really all of the chords all chords will sound like shit unless they're at 0.1. They just get too overloaded. I want there to be the last one also, so I'll just add one more. The key code for R is 82. Now we'll have all four of them. By the way, the music theory behind this, just intonation. I see so many computer keyboard coded keyboards that use equal temperament and they just look like pianos, and it's ridiculous because if you know anything about music theory, honestly, you'll know equal temperament is dividing an object into equal steps. Musical temperament, the tuning system that slightly compromises pure intervals of just intonation to meet other requirements is ridiculous. It has nothing to do with harmonics at all. So now this is just intonation, pure ratios, such as 3 to 2 or 4 to 3. Which, if anyone bothered to look at Wikipedia, you figure out if you bother to look at Wikipedia for 2 minutes. Harmonics. Wow. So look, this is the major scale. 7 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The 8th being the octave, C to C. So that's the first, 2, 3, 4th, 5th, or the 1, 4, 5, the 4th and 5th notes of the scale, 6th, 7th, 8th. So that's the 1, 4, 5, and those constitute the 3 major chords in a key of traditional music theory. But going by just intonation, I'm not sure how much of that's going to translate. It's the Pythagorean scale. So yeah, just intonation.